Hey guys, today I'm bringing you a video with me not driving anything and my good friend and fellow contributor Gentlefun driving the batchat. And I've been thinking about how I want to shape these sub-replay kind of things, because I don't want to do it to inflate people's egos. I want to do it and help them learn something by analyzing the games. So I like reviewing aces and everything, but I'm more interested in people that send me something and basically want me to tell them where exactly they went wrong. And no, I'm not saying I'm an expert and that I know everything, because I definitely don't, but I like explaining actions to people, and that's basically what I do in my own videos. And I like helping people understand why some things are being done or why you should have done something else, because understanding why generally helps a lot with getting it right the next time you try and do it, or at least next time you're in the same kind of situation. Like for now, Thibaut camped at the beginning to see what the enemy was doing, but when he didn't see them there, the moment the first enemy got spotted, he moved and he went to get behind them to get basically ass shots. Now he's shooting that guy and he's actually zooming out again in between shots, which he really doesn't need to, because he's well protected where he is, and he misses that last shot because he exits sniper mode again. And then he has to reload. He has a medium behind him, which is basically being the first target, because he's peeking out way too far, and that means that Thibaut can quite easily get shots in there. But he does relocate, and right now he's hesitating on what to do and what he should be doing, and that can basically literally kill you in a light tank if you're not sure what to do. So generally I always find that it's better to stick with the decision, even though if it can be a bad decision, everything you don't know. But you want to make sure that you're always on the move and you're always doing something, because with your power to relocate quite fast and everything, the team depends on you to be basically everywhere. So now he's relocating again, and I don't mind that. He could have helped his medium a bit more, but he is gonna get some nice targets here, and he shoots the T30, pulls back, and then he does get shot by the T30 because he stood still just a little bit too long. He gets the last shot in as well, and then he pulls back, and it's tricky because the E100 was looking at him, but he could have possibly killed the T62A there. So now he, after hesitating a little bit again, he decides to go somewhere else completely. And this is something that I both love and hate about light tanks, while we watch Thibaut actually accidentally blocking the grill and getting him killed, even though I have the feeling that the grill wouldn't have been able to pull back in time to avoid getting killed there with the low HP that he had. But Thibaut does apologize, and he actually contacted the guy after the game as well to apologize, and they had a nice chat afterwards, so the grill understood and everything, so all is good between that. But yeah, stuff like that can happen, especially when you're in a fast moving tank. So now Thibaut is actually flanked around. He's on the complete other side of the map. He misses that first shot because he's still moving and not aimed at all. And then Nicholas, his teammate, gets the kill. And though I like that he's on the other side of the map now, it's also quite tricky, because flanking like this and moving around like this takes you out of the game quite a bit. And it means that you're not getting the shots in that you should be getting in order to support your team. So in his stead, I definitely would have relocated. I don't think I would have relocated this far. So now he does get a shot into the E100 and kills him. And then he has the T30 there and needs to be careful, which he is. So he's waiting for the T30 to shoot. And then he shoots him but does no damage. So he loads the last shot in, gets that in, and before the E100 can even look at him, he's moving away again and relocating, and he needs to be careful of the E100 because, well, one of the downsides of the batchat is that it so easily gets killed because the armor is pretty much non-existent. And now he goes after T30, and he does troll a little bit, but he does take a shot there that he really didn't have to take, because the E100 was in no position to shoot him and the IS-4 was too far away. Now he's not really in one shot for the IS-4, but he would definitely be for the E100, so he needs to be careful here. But he does get shot by the IS-4, and that makes him a one-shot for both of them. So he runs off, and that on its own is a very good decision. He makes sure to have a lot of things between him and the E100, so the E100 can't shoot him in the ass. And he basically retreats into the map low line to basically just get a hold of himself and see what he needs to do. And I'm not really disagreeing with him just yet, but I will start disagreeing with what he does soon. because he's unspotted. He has plenty of time to get into a good position and line up some perfect shots into the guys that he can see. And he does go over a little hill, luckily doesn't track himself or damage himself with that. And he goes on top of this one in order to shoot the IS-4. And that's very tricky because he had all the time in the world to line up the shots. He decides to do it like this and he bounces, but thereby also reveals his position to the IS-4 even if he isn't spotted. But then he pushes on and he peeks out here to shoot the E100, and though he's not spotted yet, he doesn't take the second shot, and he could have done that either by trolling the E100 into shooting the ground because he was near a ridgeline, or by just firing fast and then hiding again, because the bullets with the E100 don't fly all that fast. And then he's relocating again. The IS-4 actually left the base and is coming down now, which if he had stayed on sniper mode here, he could have trolled a shot into him and possibly killed off the IS-4, which would have only left the E100, which isn't really that much of a unicorn. I think he actually is a unidom, to be honest. And I know it's tricky because he needs to be oh so careful, and the fact that he actually runs off like this is very tricky on its own, but he does manage to do it. And he manages to miss the tree as well, so he doesn't give away his position with that. But he does spot the IS-4 again, and he could have just gone after him there and get him killed, because the E100 was not really in a position to shoot him. And I think that by hesitating and not being as, well, basically as aggressive as I feel that he should have been, it eventually cost him the game, because they won't be able to cap the base in time if he resets it once. And with the E100 being a pretty big unidom, the chances are that he will be able to reset the base. So he goes off to do just that, but he drives around a very big circle, and that's actually costing him time, because any time that he spends with this, with only half a minute left, he will not be able to do damage in. So the E100 is not looking at him, so he gets shot in there, and then he decides to just basically hide it out. And as the clock ticks away, he doesn't really hug the hill, because I feared for a moment that he will get shot by the IS-4 coming up a bit, possibly. But he doesn't. The game ends and it's a draw. And I think with this game it's mostly his hesitation that cost him the game, because if he'd stuck to positions a bit more and gotten more troll shots in, he probably would have won that game. And in my opinion, whether the decision works or not, you need to make a decision and stick by it, because if you hesitate too long, it literally won't serve you and you won't get anything done. Now, this is another game with him driving the batchat, and I decided to use this as well out of the games that he sent me, because there are a few very obvious mistakes that he makes, or at least they're obvious to me, and they mostly have to do with reading the game as supremacy. Now, he wants the guys to kill the meds and just go A, basically, and I definitely agree with that, because they should have the upper hand there. But he does go for A straight away, and that can be very tricky, because he's a very light target, which means that anyone that shoots him will basically pen him. And if he wants to cap a base, he needs proper support of his team, but you can see by the way that his team is moving that they are going towards the plane and not towards A, so he has to be very careful going here and staying here, and he has to be very careful capping that base. And he actually does pull back and out of the base, does not get shot at because the guy hesitates, and then because he's not in sniper mode, he misses a shot, gets set on fire, and only then starts to do damage. He has one shot left now, and he decides to basically reload again, try and cap the base while his friendly meds try and occupy the enemy meds. So now he's captured the base and he's going after the meds, but as he does that, he does take a lot of chance, because he's peeking out a headlock and actually gets himself into the line of fire of both the meds there. And that means that it's very easy for them to shoot him. He does pull back there, and he manages to pull back enough so that he doesn't get shot at, and the enemy med is deterred by the friendly meds that he has with him. So he gets the time to reload while his friends arrive. The guy gets shot to hell and he dies. So now T-Bow has to decide what he wants to do, and he pulls back towards the middle here, so that he can possibly get some shots into the guys that are all in the middle near base B. You can see him when you're not in sniper mode. You can't see him when you are in sniper mode. So he knows that he needs to reposition enough so that he can actually shoot and do damage. And he does get spotted there. He gets missed, luckily. And he has one shot left. He takes it, does another bit of damage, and then tries to decide where to go. Because now he's first going that way, and then decides, yeah, let's not go there. And he heads back towards the green spawn. Which I think is a good decision in this, because it means that he will not be the first target, and it will be harder for the enemy to actually get shots into him, while he might get a few nice targets in his line of sight. And currently he's the only one that actually can get here easily enough, with everyone else basically being held up. So there's the nice behind of an E4 over there, and he shoots it, but he zooms out a lot in between shots. And I think that actually cost him the first shot as well, because he's not really comfortable in sniper mode. And this is actually the moment where Thibaut loses this game, because he decides to stay here and he decides to get more shots into the E4, which on its own is not a bad thing. But the enemy has 2 bases, and that means that he is the only one in a position where he can actually get to base C and cap it. And it might have saved them the game, because his team is basically getting slaughtered now. They were ahead before, and Thibaut does get some nice shots in there, and I think that's a bit of luck as well, because shooting this far with Primo is tricky. But they actually keep continuing to kill his team. They have 2 bases, and now it's just going too fast. And even now I thought for a moment that he would drive into base B here, but he's actually continuing on to try and shoot the E5. But then he hits the IS-7 and he gets killed, and that actually sends the enemy team into the 1000 points, and they win it. And in my opinion, that showed too much of basically encounter mindset in a supremacy game, because if he had gone to C, he likely would have won that. Now, I want to thank Thibaut for sending me these games. I hope you guys enjoyed my analysis, and I'll see you guys next time.